Parkland survivor David Hogg, he attended that hearing, but was removed after this outburst.
Reiterating the points of mass shooters in your manifesto. The shooter in my high school, anti-Semitic, anti-black, and racist. The shooter in El Paso described it as an invasion. Guess what? Those guns are coming from the United States of America. They aren't coming from Mexico. They are not coming from Mexico. You are reiterating the points of a mass shooter, sir. Sir, you are perpetuating this violence.
So I know a lot of people were meeting with senators and House members and their staff today, and one thing that was heard over and over again was, we're just going to wait until after the election and then we'll address this. That's bullshit. We can't handle that. If our country was attacked by a foreign enemy, the way that these white nationalist domestic terrorists have attacked our country over a dozen times this summer, we wouldn't be waiting until after an election. We would have already spent billions of dollars fighting off that enemy. The next mass shooter is not waiting until after the election. These senators shouldn't either. Get your act together and act.
Somebody needs to tell Mr. Hogg that his 15 minutes were up a long time ago. Welcome to another installment of the Connecticut Gun Bench. Today's video is brought to you by P.A.N. Firearms, LLC, P.A.N. Firearms for your NRA certification and multifaceted gun training. You can reach us at 203-300-6343, or you can use our website at www.panfirearmsllc.com. As always, there'll be a link in the description box below. Well, let's talk about this. Most of the people who are watching this channel or subscribe to the channel, I would understand that most of you are gun people and you should know what's going on. For those of you who don't, at this point in time, the House Judiciary is holding committee meetings on HR1808, which is the assault weapons ban for 2022. And there's been a lot going on in there, as you just saw in the beginning. People who want to, let me be clear, David Hogg is nothing more than an exploiter and a user. He has used the Parkland incident to ingratiate himself and nobody else but himself. Anytime he sees a chance to put himself back in the limelight, he does it. It's just an example of one of the worst kind of human beings that can be. But going back to the actual meat and potatoes of this video, HR1808, I'm going to throw it up here. This is for the 117th Congress of 2022. I'm just going to give you a recap of what they're trying to do here. Okay, this is the wording. Generalizing the bill. This bill makes it a crime to knowingly import, sell, manufacture, transfer, or possess a semi-automatic assault weapon, SAW, or large capacity automatic or ammunition feeding device. The prohibition does not apply to a firearm that is 1, manually operated by bolt, pump, slide, lever, or slide action, 2, permanently inoperable, 3, an antique, or 4, a rifle or shotgun specifically identified by make and model. The bills also exempts from the prohibition the following with respect to SAW and LCAFD: importation, sale, manufacture, transfer, or possession related to certain law enforcement efforts or authorized tests or experiments; importation, sale, transfer, or possession related to securing nuclear materials; and possession by a retired law enforcement officer. The bill permits continued possession, sale, or transfer of a grandfathered SAW, which must be securely stored. A licensed gun dealer must conduct a background check prior to the sale or transfer of a grandfathered SAW between private parties, which basically means federally, if you are transferring what they call a so-called assault weapon, you have to go to an FFL to make the transaction. The bill permits continued possession of, but prohibits the sale or transfer of a grandfathered LCAFD, which means that once you pass away, you can't leave those so-called large capacity ammunition feeding devices to another person. They must be destroyed or dealt with, which is nonsense. But newly manufactured LCAFDs must display serial number identification. Newly manufactured SAWs and LCAFDs must display the date of manufacture, which is kind of silly. If you're banning them from civilian use, what's the point of serializing the magazines? We can't get them anyway. So what's the point? But This bill also allows a state or local government to use Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant Program funds to compensate individuals who surrender an SAW/LCAFD under the buyback program. Yeah, good luck with that. Yeah, I'm going to take my customized SAW and turn it in for a $200 Walmart gift card. No, I'll keep my firearm, thanks. But there it is in generalization. And of course, the judiciary, the sparks have been flying back and forth. I'm sure you've seen some of it, and we're going to definitely get into what's going on here. But we're going to start here. Okay. I'm going to start with the infamous Sheila Jackson Lee, because she says a bunch of dumb stuff. Let's go ahead and watch that.
This is the gentlelady from Texas seek recognition.
Mr. Chairman, just to strike the last word.
Gentlelady's recognized.
Mr. Chairman, I am glad that you, as I've watched you over the years, respond to the crisis and needs of the American people. Not the politics of what will get in, what will pass in the Senate, who believes in it, but to the American people. Let me offer my deepest sympathy. Without any action, it means nothing, but my love and concern to those who are here in this room who've experienced the vial of gun deaths and their loved ones who will never come back, or they themselves.
So let me understand this. If you're killed any other way, you're going to come back? It's almost like, I've said this before, they have literally prioritized death. So being killed by a specific item gives you more priority over those who were killed otherwise, who were not killed by so-called assault weapons or gun violence. It's almost disingenuous language. It's actually kind of insulting, but...
We're victims. HR 1808, the assault weapons ban of 2022, would prohibit the sale, manufacture, transfer, or possession of semi-automatic assault weapons and large capacity ammunition feeding devices. Let me thank Mr. Cicilline for his leadership. After the Pulse nightclub, I introduced HR 5470, Stopping Mass Killings by Violent Terrorists Act, to ban assault weapons. And the same repetitive words, let's get the guns out of children's hands, let's do nothing, was repeated in 2016. Since that time, we have seen the vileness of violence and death. Whether we call them assault weapons or AR-15 style weapons, we all know that we're talking about civilian versions of firearms created for the military. That was used in Buffalo. The people in Buffalo are still crying.
The people in Waukesha, Wisconsin are still crying also, but they don't matter to her. Notice how in the background here she's got the pictures. These are the people who were killed at Buffalo by a white supremacist, okay? Black people are losing their lives every day at the hands of other black people. Do they have any of those people in the audience? No. Do they have any of the victims' families there? No. No, because they don't have any political clout. These people have political clout. That's why she's got their picture up there.
And they're asking for relief. I met their family members. And after Buffalo, my heart is still aching, because how can you ignore these babies in Uvalde?
Coming from the same party that calls abortion women's health care, reproductive rights. My heart is aching for these babies. Yeah, it only aches when it's politically convenient for you.
I'm not going to ignore them. Not only are we doing this in their name, but it is important for us to go to Uvalde, for there to be a congressional and federal presence on getting the truth. Day after day, mass shooting after mass shooting, we're confronted with the carnage that is inflicted on the human body when these weapons of war are used against elementary-aged children, teachers, parade goers, high school students, worshipers, shoppers, and on and on. In America, gun violence is the leading cause of death among children, while mass shootings occur increasingly every year.
I'm going to research that because I don't believe that's a true statement. that gun violence is the #1 cause of death among children. I'm going to look into that, and I will post it in the description box, but I don't think that's a true statement at all.
Cannot think of a state represented on this dais that has not been forever changed by at least one mass shooting. In the state of Texas, we've done nothing. It is no secret that I'm adamantly opposed to assault weapons and large capacity magazines and implements that are designed for war. I'm not against the Second Amendment.
Okay, I am against assault weapons and weapons of war, which is a dumb statement, because another representative, and I have to do it in another video, literally lays out the hypocrisy to the bill. But I'm not against the Second Amendment, but I want to ban these weapons. That's kind of like saying I'm not against the First Amendment, but you can't say that. Yeah,
and I will take issue with any babble about this undermines the Second Amendment. It does not. It is to create a militia.
Shall not be infringed. It does undermine the Second Amendment.
Militia. Maybe the one aspect in the Second Amendment that my friends never talk about is to recognize that there are Supreme Court cases that said that we could regulate. Neither of these kinds of guns belong in the community. In 2019, the Judiciary Committee held a hearing on assault weapons. We heard testimony from a trauma surgeon who described the devastating wounds and injuries suffered by victims of mass shooting at a Walmart in El Paso, Texas. Tragically, I was there too. The shooter wielded an AK-47 style weapon. We all know that the parents in Uvalde were asked, I just can't say it, but to identify their children.
And the nominees for Best Actress in a groovy judiciary meeting are, yeah, spare me, oh my heart, I can't say it. The parents of the children who died at the Murrah building had to identify their children also. Do you think those wounds were any less destructive or devastating to look at? Once again, political grandstanding and virtual signal. It's absolute friggin' nonsense.
Through a method of science, DNA. There is no debating that when paired with large capacity magazines, assault weapons perform as they are designed, killing more people quickly. You can't stop them. There were eons, tens upon tens of guys with good guns, good guys with guns in Uvalde, and they did nothing, absolutely nothing with their guns.
There was a good guy at the Greenwood Park Mall with a handgun, and he did something. Notice that none of them are gonna mention that event. That event does not exist in their minds because it goes against their narrative.
Nothing, because they too must have thought this was a weapon of war. Because of their concealability, portability, lethality, assault weapons are often the firearm choice for perpetrators who commit startling public acts of mass murder.
That's a lie. Handguns commit more acts of mass murder. That is a fact. Handguns, by a large margin, commit more of these so-called mass shootings. Just remember, these people are defining mass shooting on their definition of it. FBI definition was 6 people killed. They changed it to 4 people killed or injured. So a shooting happens and 4 people are injured. Mass shooting. That's how they define it. That's not how the FBI defined mass shooting. But that's how they come up with this 350 plus number. A drug deal gone bad. Oh, 4 people got injured, 1 dead. Oh, mass shooting. That's how it works.
On July 4th, they are often the weapons used when law enforcement officers are targeted because due to their ability to overwhelm the typical gun sidearm, like the ghost gun assault weapon used in Third Ward, Texas, in my district, shooting 3 officers
Okay, a ghost gun, a ghost gun is a gun that goes, it's a stupid term, but it's a gun that's made by somebody at home. Now, a ghost gun, so-called, is manufactured without a serial number. So once again, how does a ban stop somebody from doing that? Let me point you to Japan. Japan, which has strict gun control. It's authoritarian. Authoritarian. It's impossible to own a gun in Japan. Yet, this guy came up with his ghost gun and shot a former prime minister right in the street. Shows you once again, laws are only as good as the people who will follow them. But let's keep going.
Out in the open, HR1808 will help gradually reduce the number of assault weapons and large capacity magazines available, keeping them out of the hands of criminals and out of the hands of people who are there to do deadly deeds and to kill our children. I am tired
So am I. I'm tired of this bullshit rhetoric that they always come up with. A law is only as good as those who will follow it. This law is not going to stop it, and they know this. They know this. They're not ignorant to that fact. They know what they're doing here. It's going to start with these so-called scary assault weapons. And if they ever get that through, and yet this ban happens, and it continues to happen because they're not solving the actual problem, and it continues, then it's going to be, oh, we need to ban semi-automatics. That's not going to be the next step. Next step is going to be a ban on all semi-automatics.
Of seeing parents bury their children. Therefore, this enables the states to do what they need to do. The bill contains many protections for responsible gun owners, hunters. It ensures owners of those grandfather weapons to store them securely and do not allow people prohibited from possessing. So they're grandfathered in. There are many weapons that are not included. It exempts antique and most manually operated firearms. In 1994 to 2000, it includes exemptions for specific uses such as law enforcement. We are reasonable people.
There's nothing reasonable about that. Like, here, let's throw you a bone. Oh, if you have one already, you can keep it. I really don't care about that. I want these rights to expand into future generations, for future generations to be able to exercise it as freely, well, as freely as we are now, which is, strangely enough, not as freely as it was intended.
And this is a reasonable effort, and I look forward to pursuing the debate and saying enough is enough. We love our children. I demand relief, and I'm not worried about the other body. They need to do what is right on behalf of this country.
Yeah. Once again, she keeps throwing that children thing in there. Yeah, children only children only matter when they're outside the womb to her. Because anything else before that, it's not, go ahead, kill it. Don't care. We kill more children in abortion than any so-called mass murder every damn year. Ugh, it's just unbelievable, these people.
In God we trust. And I believe we're going to pass the assault weapons ban, and the president will sign it into law. God bless you. God bless the United States of America.
You know, I almost ducked when she said, she started mentioning God. I was like, uh-oh. Like, oh my God. I was waiting for the thunder boom and the lightning to strike. But, oh, there you go. Sheila Jackson Lee, with her politically driven rhetoric, which is not going to solve any issue of the so-called mass murder violence or gun violence, which I don't know why they like to separate the two, because violence is violence. Whether you get run over by an SUV, get caught in a bomb blast at a federal building, or get shot, I don't see the damn difference. It's all the same to me. But then again, this is the same person who said this.
My bill that I've introduced dealing with the caliber weapon, I've held an AR-15 in my hand. I wish I had it. It is as heavy as 10 boxes that you might be moving. And the bullet that is utilized, a 50 caliber, these kinds of bullets, need to be licensed and do not need to be on the street.
Yeah, let me go ahead and put that image up on behind me. Like I said, most of you people who watch this channel, you're gun people. You should have laughed because that was ridiculous, even though she's dead serious. The average AR-15 unloaded weighs 6.5 pounds. That's 1.5 pounds more than a 5-pound bag of sugar. Pick up a bag of sugar, you add a pound, that's an AR-15. She's trying to tell you about 10 heavy boxes you might move. What, are these boxes empty? Do you have styrofoam pieces in them? Yep, so you can see this image. And it shoots a 50 BMG round and, okay. Image that should be on my right is a 50 BMG round, the larger round. The round on the left is the standard 5.56 millimeter that is used typically in the AR-15. Yeah, these are the people who make these, push these laws, and they don't know the first damn thing they're talking about. It really is a damn shame. But this is what we're dealing with. This is what's going on in the judiciary right now. And there's a lot more. This video would be 3 hours long if I was to go through all of it. But these are the people, you know, I said it before, and it's frustrating. These are the people who make laws about things they know nothing about. That's why we have a healthcare system that's now almost turned on its head, because they made laws about things they know nothing about. And all you heard there was just rhetoric. And it's so frustrating to hear these people talk, because everything that they're proposing will not help to stop the violence that is happening. And they're not stupid. They know this. It's not about making people safe. It's not. It's about gun control. You know, I keep telling people all the time, look at the way they treat us now, and we're armed. Imagine how they would treat us if we weren't. But let me know what you think. As always, you can leave your comments in the comment section below. And as always, any statements of violence or statements that lead to violence will be removed. Please like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit that notification bell so you get notified the next time a video goes live. I'll see you on the next one. Peace.